Welcome into the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Thanks for checking us out today. Phillies continue to win, and not only win, but win on the road. We will go back down the road to the past when the Phillies didn't win on the road, revisit that to what they're doing now, which is just absolutely spectacular. And I couldn't believe the stat they put up last night. I could not believe the stat they put up last night. 17 out of their last 22 games. The Phillies have not won 17 out of 22 since 2011. That is unbelievable to me that it has been that long since they've had a run like this. And they've had some runs. Even, of course, in the years that they missed the playoffs, they still had some pretty good runs. But 17 of their last 22, they haven't done that since 2011. That is amazing. So the Phillies are the hottest they have been in 12 years. What? We'll get into that conversation. Of course, again, we'll talk about what they've done on the road as of late. We'll talk about our concerns about Aaron Nola, because while I'm giving you some numbers about Aaron Nola, the thing that is just absolutely insane to me is that last year, Aaron Nola had 18 starts where he did not allow more than 2 earned runs. 18 of those starts. He had 4 of those starts consecutively in June last year. He has yet to have a start, 2 starts in a row with those numbers. He has yet to have a start, back-to-back starts, where he has allowed no more than 2 earned runs. He had 4 straight alone in June last year. Rob Thompson, actually, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He talked about how consistent Nola has been over his last couple of starts, and I'm like, what? No, huh? Consistent? He followed up a no-hitter into the 7th inning by getting shelled. This isn't a guy that we're talking about being consistent. This is a guy that has been consistently inconsistent, if that's what you want to talk about. Aaron Nola being consistent. Okay, 6 innings, great. Wasn't able to do that last night for the first time since April 11th. His 3rd start of the season, by the way. Then he went on 13 straight starts. He went on to have 13 straight starts of at least 6 innings pitched. Not that he pitched well, particularly. He would gut out a lot of those performances. It's shades of 2020, Aaron Nola. That's what it is, unfortunately. Shades of 2020, Aaron Nola, where he's just eating innings. He's not pitching particularly well. He might have a good couple innings. Then he goes to the lineup a 3rd time, and then that's when he gets smacked around a little bit. And last night, he just did not have his best stuff. 4th inning or 5th inning. I know the 5th inning is really when they started putting up runs. 4th inning, he was really able to get out of a jam there by being able to get a double play ball, but even that ball was hit on the screws by Young, right at Harrison to turn an inning-ending double play, and Aaron Nola needed that. Boy, did he need that. But he had given up the 2 home runs, which again has been a problem for him this year. He missed his spots on those pitches. But you look at what he did in the 4th inning, and the wheels started to come off. And I did not have a good feeling about the 5th inning. And the instincts turned out to be right. Now, yes, they did limit the damage, but man, balls were getting hit hard out of the hand of Aaron Nola. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Nick Castellanos and his all-star bid, hit his 10th home run last night. Now leads the team with 49 RBIs on the season. Great for Nick Castellanos. And above all else, great for Nick Castellanos and his hustle RBI double that he had last night. Not only did he put himself in scoring position with his 2nd hit of the ball game, not only did he get his 49th RBI on the season, he also put himself in scoring position. It was a heads-up play, and we're not used to seeing heads-up plays on the base paths by the Philadelphia Phillies, unfortunately. We're used to them trying to make a heads-up play, but then getting thrown out at second, or getting thrown off because they overran a bag or what have you. Well, last night, Nick Castellanos put a blooper into left center field. He busted around first base, saw that there were 4 Cubs trying to get to that baseball. There's nobody covering second. He hustles to second. Madrigal's got to come all the way over from third to try to cover second and tag out Nick Castellanos, which he almost did. But Castellanos read the play right and he was safe at second. Not only did he make that hustle play, he put himself in scoring position for Bryce Harper, who needs any ounce of goodness and positivity and any reason for optimism, offensively speaking. And he put himself in scoring position where Bryce Harper stepped up to the plate next and bopped a single into center field to plate Nick Castellanos for an RBI for Bryce Harper. It was a great play. It was a great series of events for the Phillies. And it was all thanks to Nick Castellanos. So that was great. As high as I am on Nick Castellanos, I might be as low as I am right now on Aaron Nola. And yes, I will continue to have concerns about Bryce Harper. Because last night he put another ball on the warning track. Looked like he got it off the very end of the bat, but it's a concerning thing when power numbers aren't there for a power hitter. And the on-base percentage is still good. The batting average isn't terrible if you look over the course of the season. In the month of June, it's not great. It's not even close to great. And I even pointed out for you guys yesterday, you're talking about a guy that was hitting 063. 0.063 over his last week of baseball. Nice to have him have that RBI single last night, but there's still a lot of concerns about Bryce Harper and what he's got going on. We'll break down the Phillies game, of course, as the show goes on today, as they come away with the 8-5 victory, and they were up 5-0 before you could blink again against the Cubs. They'll go for the series win, and like I said, we'll backtrack a little bit, go down memory road, as it is in this case, talk about how the Phillies have turned things around on the road and why Nick Castellanos has been doing what he's doing. We'll hear from Rob Thompson as well as to what he had to say about Nick Castellanos' turnaround from last season to this season and why he thinks Nick Castellanos is playing as well as he is this year. James Harden will have to make a decision by 11:59 tonight as to whether or not he's going to officially take his player option. He's not, or he's going to sign another deal with the Sixers or sign elsewhere. My official prediction, he signs with the 76ers, not in the player option. I think you guys know this by now. He'll sign a deal that I think will be in the 2-year range, either a single year with a player option or 2-year deal with a 3-year player option that I would hope to God he would opt out of. I don't want him here. I don't even want him back. I'm making a prediction here. I'm not telling him what I want. I want the gap year. I'm all for the gap year, baby. I'm all for running it back without James Harden. Tobias Harris sticks around for one more year. Maybe you trade him at the deadline. You see what you have with Joel Embiid, and you see what you have with Tyrese Maxey. And the unfortunate thing is, either way, as we were talking about last week, was it Austin Crow we were talking to? Yeah. Either way, the 76ers I see as a second-round playoff exit again. Now, I'm all for Nick Nurse. I love Nick Nurse, but I don't think it's just going to be Nick Nurse alone taking this team into the conference finals, into the NBA finals. There needs to be other moves being made. And yesterday, I heard an interesting little tidbit, I read. Kai Carlin, who's been a friend of the show, put out an article on USA Today, Sixers Wire, about how Dario Saric could be a fine fit in Philadelphia. And I thought, I would love to see Dario return to the 76ers. I would love it. He's not only a guy they could use, he's not only a guy they need, but he's a fan favorite. I mean, if you just take away the name and take away the history and you put up, the numbers, you put up what he does, you put up the cost associated with it, and it's like fit, bring that guy here. Oh, it's Dario Saric? All right. Bring him on down. So I'd personally love to see it. It's one of the more intriguing names that are out there that is both affordable and I think would be productive here in Philadelphia. And there's a little heartwarming story that goes along with it too. So I would be in favor of that. But it's not just going to be Nick Nurse. It's not going to be him with some magic wand all of a sudden making these players play some incredible style of basketball. They're still going to need more help. The ceiling, of course, you would think is a lot higher if you do bring back James Harden, as opposed to running it back with a gap year without James Harden. But I still believe there's talent in there. I mean, I've talked a lot about how James Harden has led the league in assists. Everyone's talked about that. That's common knowledge at this point. You also have the two-time scoring title, the MVP, Joel Embiid. You have those guys. That's all great for the regular season, but what does it mean for the playoffs? Nick Nurse isn't here to win you 55 games. He's here to win you series in the playoffs. This team, with James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and yes, Tobias Harris, this team is a playoff team. This team is a 50-win team. It's not about that anymore. It hasn't been about that for a couple years. It's about making an NBA Finals. It's about winning a championship. The question is whether or not you need to make other acquisitions on this team, which are going to be pretty cash-strapped if you do bring back James Harden. The question is going to be whether or not you can actually reach the finals, win the finals, have a parade for all of Philadelphia, if you can do that with just adding Nick Nurse. I saw that they're extending the offer to Paul Reed, so you'll have a decent backup center at least. So that's something that the Sixers absolutely need, especially if you're going to be seeing Joel Embiid load managed more so than we have seen in recent years. Nick Nurse talked about his experience with Kawhi Leonard in doing that. I assume he's going to do something similar with Joel Embiid because, again, it's not about winning 50 to 55 games during a regular season. It's not even about getting a good playoff seed again. It's about simply winning in the playoffs. And whatever Nick Nurse is going to do to get the best out of these players and organize them in a way and coach them in a way and have a strategy that makes them better than what we've seen in the playoffs recently, then, all right, we're going to have to wait a long time. As I've said many times, with Nick Nurse, without Nick Nurse, with James Harden, without James Harden, it's going to be a regular season walk up to the playoffs, a very long preseason to the playoffs where it's actually going to matter. It's going to take more than just James Harden signing back here and Nick Nurse. It's going to take a hell of a lot more, unfortunately. So we'll get into that. And the Philadelphia Flyers absolutely dominated the NHL draft. I gave you guys names yesterday for that seventh overall pick in Matvei Michkov out of the KHL. A lot of people had him going to the the Blue Jackets. A lot of people had him going to the Sharks. Somehow he fell to the Flyers at 7. And Danny Briere, when he was doing his interviews after the pick and he was talking about him, he was talking about Michkov and what he could bring to the table and all that. He talked about the interview process and how, of course, they were blown away by his play. And a lot of people thought he was the second best player that you could possibly get in this draft. Connor Bedard, obviously, being the number one guy. And, oh, wow, the Blackhawks get another number one pick. Go figure. Yes, I'm still very bitter over that Patrick Kane thing. But anyway, the Flyers get a guy who really wanted to be a Flyer, according to Danny Briere. He made it clear to them that he liked the Flyers organization. He really liked the city, liked the team's history, and would like to have an impact on the future. I'm assuming that as talented as this kid's supposed to be, that nobody wanted to sign a guy that was going to go play in the KHL for 3 years. I love it. This, to me, cements the idea that the Flyers are absolutely 100% committed to the rebuild. That's what this pick is. It's an exclamation point on the idea that this is not going to be fast. This is not going to be a quick turnaround. The Flyers are not going to be looking for a quick fix here. They're looking to build something to have sustained success. And in this city and nationally, sustained relevance, which is something that's very unfortunate to talk about the Flyers in a way that people have forgotten about them over the last handful of years. And me, and I've told you guys all the time how big a Flyers fan I was growing up. I need this team to be relevant again. I need this team to be a conversation point. I need this team to at least get back to the idea of getting back to the fans that were at least at the status of call me when we're in the playoffs. Like we talk about the Sixers now, just get into the playoffs and let's see what you get past that second round, get into that third round, get into that conference finals, get into that NBA finals. That's how you felt about the Flyers every single year. And man, they have really gone a long way from that. And by the way, I thought it was interesting. They took Oliver Bonk, a defenseman. They took Oliver Bonk, a defenseman, with their 22nd overall pick. His father, Radek Bonk, is a former Ottawa Senator. And although he didn't show up in the box score in terms of penalty minutes, I am 90% sure that his dad was actually a member of the Ottawa Senators when they had that incredible 419 minute penalty game in 2004. And I'm trying to find the ice time. But yeah, I don't think his father showed up in the box score, unfortunately. Here we go. Yeah, his father did not show up. Okay. So his father was a member of the team, but did not play in the game, unfortunately. But he was a member of the Ottawa Senators that year. I remember watching that game live and thinking, this is insane. But yeah, absolutely incredible. 2004. Yeah, his father was 28 years old. Member of the team, but did not play in the game. Absolutely insane. So things come full circle. All right, let's jump into this Phillies game. All right, but that is my opinion on the Flyers draft. I think they had a phenomenal draft. I am absolutely blown away and pleased, without question, that Michkov fell to them at 7. The process begins for the Flyers. Let's get into that Phillies game last night. It was an 8-5 win. I want to talk about Aaron Nola before I talk about anything else, before I get into any of the play-by-play from last night's game. Aaron Nola came out in that first inning and pitched through 9 pitches. Everything was working. Everything was beautiful. Everything was gorgeous, ladies and gentlemen. Gorgeous. And I thought, all right, this is great. You have a 9-pitch inning from Aaron Nola. He's going to have a 25, 30-pitch inning at some point, maybe the 3rd or 4th inning, and he's going to leave you concerned about the rest of the night. And that ended up happening on more than one occasion, unfortunately, because after that first inning, he just did not look like the same guy. And I don't know if it was the knuckle curve. I don't know if it was the fastball location. I know particularly the home runs. You saw JT Realmuto line up on one side of the plate and the pitch came to the other side of the plate, or you saw JT Realmuto line up a little high, the pitch came a little low, a little middle in action. Next thing you know, it ended up with the bleacher bums out there at Wrigley Field. But for the most part, he looked like he was okay. He just looked like he was having a little bit of struggle, but he wasn't going to be out of the game in the 5th inning. So as the game went on, you saw that he just lost it in the 4th inning. And I want to start with that 4th inning because that's where the radar started going off in my head that this wasn't going to be a 6-inning affair for Aaron Nola. You go into that 4th inning. Phillies had built up a 7-1 lead at this point. Happ comes out and strikes out. He gets Happ to strike out a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. That was the other thing. The velocity was so good with Aaron Nola last night. When I saw him pop in the mitt consistently at 94, 95 miles per hour with that 4-seam fastball, I thought, oh, this is going to be great. That's going to set up the knuckle curve even better. The sinker is going to be looking smooth. And it was not. It was not. So then he tries that 95-mile-per-hour fastball again in that 4th inning. This one to Dansby Swanson. This one to James Dansby Swanson. And he belts it 395 feet to left center field. That was a pitch that JT Realmuto wanted on the outside corner of the plate. Aaron Nola came inside, and Dansby Swanson put it outside the playing area. And all of a sudden, it was a 7-2 ball game. Then Bellinger goes up there. He gets a single. Gomes gets a single, so you get back-to-back singles. Then Young steps up, who took Aaron Nola deep earlier in the game, and tattoos a baseball right at Josh Harrison, who's your second baseman last night. It was an inning-ending double play. It was a 24-pitch inning, that 4th inning for Aaron Nola. At the end of that 4th inning, he was at 74 pitches. And I went, all right, you know what? Maybe that's the inning where he lost his stuff a little bit. Maybe that's the inning where we're concerned about what Aaron Nola was going to be doing and whether or not that was going to be a blow-up inning. But he got out of it. Only 2 runs across the plate by that point. Maybe he'd settle in for 2 more innings. At 74 pitches, you're thinking you're at least getting 2 more innings from Aaron Nola. Roll into the 5th inning. Madrigal leads things off with an infield single. Sosa pulled Bohm off the bag, unfortunately. They reviewed it. It was upheld. Then Taijaun goes up there. He gets a single to right field. That actually puts runners on 1st and 3rd with nobody out. Then Horner ends up working a walk from Nola. Now the bases are loaded for Aaron Nola with nobody out. Morel ends up drawing a walk. Nola can't get the punch out there. Happ gets the ground out to second, which scores which also scores another run. Another run scores. Now it's an 8-4 ball game. That was where Aaron Nola did not get the break because it was a comeback to Aaron Nola. He stuck his mid out, couldn't grab it. It goes to Harrison. Instead of getting a double play out of that, they end up getting one run out of that. There's going to be one out of that. So you still have a bases loaded situation here. Excuse me, you have one out in the inning, nobody on first. So you have runner on second and third with one out. And then Nola's able to get Swanson to ground out for the 1-5 put out. Sosa gets the tag. And then Bellinger steps up there and pops out to shortstop to end the threat. It could have been a lot worse. But it could have been a lot worse, not just in the fifth inning. It could have been a lot worse in the fourth inning as well. And maybe if it didn't go well in the fourth inning, you don't even see Nola pitch to anybody with the bases loaded because he'd be out of the game by then. And by that point, he'd only have, 4 innings logged at that point in the game. So forget about making it to 6 innings. He wouldn't even get through 5. But he ends up getting out of that game. Yeah, 97 pitches, I think, was the total last night for Aaron Nola after just 5 innings of work. The fact that he has not put 2 great starts together this year is very concerning. And I did go back last night, as I said, and I went back and I looked at his numbers from last year to this year. 18 starts. 18 of them in total where he didn't allow more than 2 earned runs. He had 4 straight in June. Hasn't been able to put 2 of those together this year. And I thought tonight was going to be the night. When Swanson hit the home run, I thought, that's 2 runs. That's 2 earned runs. Get through the 4th, get through the 5th, get through that 6th. Wasn't happening. After the game, Rob Thompson said that in the 4th inning or the 5th inning, he really lost the strike zone. The 2 innings that he was out there for, I mean, you talk about gutting out a performance. He got lucky more than anything else. He got lucky more than anything else. And I understand a lot of times you create your own luck, sure. But you can't watch those 2 innings with Aaron Nola and have any ounce of confidence that that's going to be a guy that's going to like bounce back or have any consistency that you have seen in years where he's competed for the Cy Young Award. And this is a team that's going to need every ounce of Aaron Nola as time goes on. Noah Song, great to see him pitch a rehab assignment last night. Everything looks smooth for him. That's great. But you're going to need him as the season winds down. You're going to need him after the All-Star break. Do you realize, and this is my friend Corey Simon actually put this out, NBC Sports Philadelphia. As great as the Phillies have been playing, as great as the Phillies have been playing recently, all right, the Braves have gained ground. They haven't lost ground, okay? Phillies now 17-7 in the month of June. They've lost 3 games of ground on the Braves in the division and a half game to the Marlins. Also, the Giants, team they're competing with in the wild card, they have the same record. So the Phillies have been great, but they've only been great to keep pace. They haven't been great to gain ground or put anybody distant in the rearview mirror. No matter where you look, in the division or the wild card, the Phillies have not made room, not gained ground. They're just hanging with, man. And thank goodness for that. I know you can look at it negatively and say what I just said, which is, well, they haven't made any ground up on anybody. They're just still there. Yeah, thank goodness they're still there. The All-Star break's what, 2 weeks? Yeah, a week and a half. Thank goodness, man. When you talk about going into Memorial Day, questioning whether or not your team's in it, that's worrisome. When you talk about maybe still being in it at the All-Star break, that makes you at least look forward to the trade deadline for what the Phillies could do. But, man, watching them last night, watching Aaron Nola, in that 4th and 5th inning, that was scary. But the Phillies are going to need him. They're obviously going to need Zach Wheeler. They're going to need Taijaun Walker to continue to do what he's doing. They're going to need Ranger Suarez to continue to do what he's doing. I mean, this is all hands on deck. When it's this close, when other teams are piping hot, you need everybody, all hands on deck, to make sure that you're performing at a high level. No better example, really, than last night's game. Let's think about this for a second, okay? Aaron Nola did have his struggles. Jose Alvarado has had some struggles as of late as well. We'll get to that. But you needed home runs from Edmundo Sosa. You needed a home run from Josh Harrison. And, of course, you needed Nick Castellanos to stay hot, which he has. pretty much all season long. Now you're going to need Bryce Harper to step up. Alec Boehm had a couple of hits for you last night. That was good to see. Brandon Marsh has really stepped up over the last couple of weeks of the season, which has been great to see. That's been a sight for sore eyes. Bryson Stott's been great all year. JT Realmuto has been very streaky this year, to say the least. Very streaky this year. So you're going to need these guys to really step up. Pache has played well for you in opportunities that he's had. This is an all-hands-on-deck type of thing. And you can't certainly afford to have one of the guys that's supposed to be an ace of your staff as consistently inconsistent as he has been this year. So that is a concern. All right, let's move on from Aaron Nola, and let's talk about our man, Nick Castellanos. What Nick Castellanos has done this year is so remarkable compared to what he was doing last year. And yesterday, to see him get in the double digits in home runs has been fantastic. Nick Castellanos now hitting .314 on the season, 10 home runs, 49 runs batted in. That's top 20 in Major League Baseball. I know it's number 1 on the Phillies, but it's top 20 in Major League Baseball. But what we have seen this season from Nick Castellanos has been great, an absolute turnaround from last year. Now, what's interesting is June, he has absolutely played his best brand of baseball. You could talk about things starting to fall by the wayside in May. In the month of May, after hitting 300 in April, 308 to be exact. In May, he hit 265. That was much more on pace and a much more on par for what he was doing last year. And he also hit 4 home runs in the month of April. You go into May, he hits 1 home run, bats 265, on base percentage goes down to 303. Now in the month of June, 89 at bats to his name. He's got a 408 on base percentage. He's hitting 371. Nick Castellanos hitting 371 in the month of June, and he's got 5 home runs. Most home runs he's had in any month this season, and he's also got 21 runs batted in. If that's not fantastic, I don't know what is. Nick Castellanos has been helping carry this team, and they talked about it after the game last night. Rob Thompson talked about Nick Castellanos and what's really turned things around for him. They credit Bryce Harper a little bit. I don't see it. I think Nick has been dialed in for a while. Here is Rob Thompson on Nick Castellanos and what's been working for him as of late.
He looks like the Nick of old, you know, and he's been really our most consistent hitter all year, and he's a big part, no doubt.
I was looking at some of his numbers. He still chases a lot. He still swings and misses a lot, but he's barreling up a lot more balls. I mean, how do you kind of weigh? How does that work exactly?
But I don't think he's chasing as much as he did last year.
Okay.
So I think he's cut down on that. He's always chased a little bit, you know. So I think he's cut down on it from last year's. Again, his head's not moving as much. He's staying back and staying balanced and being able to see the baseball, and that's the key for him.
Same thing was going on with Trey Turner in terms of him not being able to keep his head still at the plate and focus on, I guess, what he's doing. But Nick Castellanos, talking about the chase rate, that bloop RBI double that he ended up turning yesterday, that ball was a foot outside the strike zone. And Nick Castellanos just threw the barrel of the bat out there, chased it. But when you actually hit the baseball, I guess it's not chasing it. I guess it's actually doing something. I don't even know what you would call it. A hit, which is fantastic. It's exactly what you need from Nick Castellanos. And when I saw him lunge out there, I went, "Oh, okay, cool." Like it was a good piece of hitting, is what it was. When you chase and you hit the baseball, it actually looks pretty good. And he just blooped it out there, man. They got 2 runs out of him doing that. When you count in the fact that he played it an RBI there, and then Bryce Harper stepped in to play and played it an RBI as well. Schwarber got another hit for you last night. Turner got another hit for you last night. All things being equal, it was a good night to be a Phillies fan. Jose Alvarado has had me concerned. Opponent on base percentage, or excuse me, opponent batting average of over 300 since he's been back. Gave up a home run, something he never does. That wasn't last night. It was the previous outing. But need a little help there, brother. Need a little help. All right. You guys are familiar with this, right? I showed you guys this 12 20 days ago, I showed you guys this. This is the Phillies' home and away record. All right, home and away record for the Phillies on June 9th. The Phillies have now won 10 of 11 on the road. Look at this. Winning percentage back on June 9th on the road, 371 was the winning percentage on the road. 371 winning percentage on the road. They won 10 of 11. They won 6 out of 7 on the road against the A's and the Diamondbacks. I told you guys, I played for you multiple times. Rob Thompson talking about how you have to win on the road. When they had that great homestand, when they took care of business against the Tigers, when they took care of business against the Dodgers before that, and they were going into what I will look at if the Phillies keep this pace and play as well as they have played over the last 3 weeks, I will look at that road trip, really that road trip to Washington. Well, it was Atlanta, New York, and Washington. I will look at that as the turnaround, that Washington series. And then when they went on the road to face 4 games against the Diamondbacks and 3 games against the A's, I will look at that as the turning point of the season. Because they were doing fine at home. I mean, right there, boom, you saw it. 19 and 11 at home, and then 13 and 22 on the road. And now they've won 10 of 11 on the road, and now they have a chance to win 11 of 13 on the road. Or excuse me, 11 of 12 on the road. Oh, yeah, baby. Keep that coming. Complete the sweep today against Chicago Cubs. Here's Rob Thompson on what's been working for the Phillies on the road.
Success.
I think we're due. But yeah, you know, you got to win on the road. You got to win at home. You got to win in your division if you want to win a division. And we early in the year we weren't very good on the road, but now we've settled in. And that West Coast trip that we had where we won 5 out of 6 was huge for us. Gave us a little confidence on the road. I think it's helped.
Whatever it is, a little bit of confidence has gone a long way with this Phillies team. A lot of breaks along the way, no doubt about it. They've got a lot of breaks along the way, but they've also created a lot of opportunities for themselves. No better example of that than a hustle double. And a hustle double from Nick Castellanos last night certainly helped a guy like Bryce Harper. Hopefully it helps him even more so after last night. So, yeah, go for the sweep. Go for the sweep. Tonight, Phillies will go for that sweep at 8:05. Kyle Hendricks will get the start. Not Kyle Kendricks. Kyle Hendricks will get the start. Kyle Kendricks, that's the name. Kyle Kendrick. So he gets to start. Taijaun Walker gets to start for the Phillies, looking for another dominant outing. We'll break that down a little bit more in the morning rush. So all that goes down tonight. Also tonight, James Harden. I don't like saying that I've talked myself into James Harden coming back to the Sixers, but it looks like it's happening. It looks imminent. And Brian Windhorst has come out, and I highlighted it for you guys yesterday. Brian Windhorst is coming out and saying that James Harden, he expects James Harden to go back to the Sixers. It's just a question of whether or not that looks like a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal, whether or not that looks like max money type of deal. Adrian Wojnarowski has come out and said something very similar to that. I will lose my mind if the Sixers sign him to a full max deal. I don't think it's going to happen, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. That doesn't mean it's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. If in the next 48 hours, let's just say that. Actually, it doesn't even need a time limit. If at any point this offseason, the story comes out about the Sixers signing James Harden to a max deal, max money, max years, I am going to lose my mind. That would be so incredibly disheartening. It would be the end. Like, look, I know people talk about success of the process or not, okay? As long as Joel Embiid is playing for the Sixers, this is the process, okay? But I feel like with 5 first-round picks, when they changed hands with Sam Hinkie and all these chips, it was like Sam Hinkie did all this work, right? Made all these deals, was committed to being terrible, to gain assets. It'd be like somebody went into a casino, wrapped their arms around all these chips and went, oh, baby, look what I've got. And then the pit boss came in and says, no, you got to give those chips to this guy. And they're like, what? And you got to pass those chips to the next guy. And now this guy's got him. Oh, man. All these, and then he deals a couple of them, makes a couple of bad bets, right? And then he's like, wait, I got to change these and give these away too? Oh, wait. And then there's a scandal. And then there's the burner accounts. And then Elton Brand gets it. And then Brett Brown gets it for like 20 minutes. And then he botches the McCall Bridges thing. And then Elton Brand after that. And then he signs everybody, Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. He brings them in for trades and everybody. Then Jimmy Butler leaves. And then Tobias Harris is here and signs him a lucrative deal. And it doesn't really pay it out here in Philadelphia, but he's still here. And then you have another guy coming in, Daryl Morey, and now he's got the chips. I feel like this is the last chip. I feel like you're on the last chip of the process. And I feel like James Harden would be a waste of that last. That's how it would feel if he signed a 4-year, $210 million deal with the 76ers. I would feel like not only did you once have this great wealth, you've now gone into debt. When you've gone from, let's not even include Hinkie. Well, let's include Hinkie. Hinkie, Brian Colangelo, Jerry Colangelo, Brian Colangelo, Brett Brown for 20 minutes, including a draft, Elton Brand, Daryl Morey. 6, I don't want to say GMs, 6 executives with final say over transactions. 2 number 1 overall picks that aren't here anymore. And all you have is Joel Embiid to show for it. That would feel like a definitive end to the process. A 2-year deal, it doesn't feel as crippling. It doesn't feel as much like it could hold you back, and it doesn't feel nearly as much of a bad investment. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but 4 years just seems like it is a prison sentence to the fan base if that's a max deal with James Harden. Max money, I understand in the short term, because you're trying to win now. You're trying to cash in those chips and make it mean something, and you feel like you're a lot closer with James Harden. Yeah, I feel like they are closer to a championship with James Harden than they would be without James Harden. But my investment would be in Tyrese Maxey and seeing how he would get better over the course of a year when it's him, Joel Embiid, and yes, Tobias Harris as the 1, 2, 3. James Harden is a great facilitator. He had a great year last year. My concern is the playoffs and whether or not he can win in the playoffs. He won a lot of playoff games in Houston. Got pretty close to a championship. Not winning a championship, but making it to the NBA Finals, I should say. I'll be very concerned with the 76ers and the fan base's well-being if James Harden ends up signing a 4-year deal. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just letting you guys know where my mind's at. As 11:59 tonight, he's got to officially opt in or out of that player option. Watch him sign a 4-year deal at max money, and then they get Dario Saric, and then everybody feels cool about it. Plus, Dario and I, we frequent the same coffee bar, espresso bar, and restaurant in Philly. So it'd be nice to see Dario hanging out there again. The Flyers. Oh my goodness gracious, people. Oh my goodness gracious. You weren't supposed to get Matvei Michkov at 7. It wasn't supposed to happen. And just like we talked about the process with the Sixers, you can now flip that over with the Flyers being very committed to being bad for a while and accumulating assets. And here's what's great. Let's say that the Flyers are still terrible in 3 years, okay? And most people, and we'll see if Flyers fans can do the same thing, but most people, when the Sixers started their process, the vast majority of people I talk to say, well, they'll give it 3 years. They'll give it 3 years. I'll give it 3 years of being terrible, give it 3 years of god-awful basketball, and I'll do all that. I'll invest all that time as a Sixers fan if I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, where you acquire all these assets, and then you cash them in later for either a top pick, or you cash them in for a free agent, or not a free agent, a key trade. The Flyers are in that same boat right now. And to sign a guy, or to draft a guy like Michkov, for instance, it's very similar to the Sixers taking Joel Embiid. The Sixers taking even Ben Simmons. The Sixers taking Nerlens Noel. I'm hoping it pans out better than any of those names I mentioned, except for Joel Embiid. It'd kind of be nice to see that again, right? In the hockey sense, right? Except, win a championship. It's equivalent to a draft and stash as well. You're drafting a guy who's not going to help you right now, but in 3 years, you could be adding him to your roster at the same time you're adding some big free agents to your roster. When he is ready to join the Flyers out of the KHL in 3 years, the Flyers look could be totally different than what it is right now, and you'd be adding a very young, one of the best players in juniors throughout the year, him and Bedard, right? You're adding a guy like that to this roster in 3 years where you don't even know what that roster is going to look like. And my assumption is if you do this right, Danny Briere, Jonesy as well, if you do this right, you're going to be adding a nice piece to the puzzle. So it's similar to the Sixers, not only just the process in general. It's similar to the Sixers in taking Joel Embiid, who they knew wasn't going to play. It was similar to taking Nerlens Noel, who they knew wasn't going to play. It's similar to even having Ben Simmons sit out his first year. You're getting the asset now to be invested later when your team could be even better. Okay, so we get this pick right now. We get this talent right now, but we still get to be bad. He doesn't help us win or turn things around, so we stay just as bad and still get another asset next year. Let's do it. And to get Oliver Bonk as well, a defenseman that can score, a defenseman like it, I'm in, man. I'm in. I don't think the Flyers could have had a better night last night. I don't think they could have had better luck than they had last night. Again, I mentioned it. You're talking about a guy that could have been taken 4th overall, maybe 3rd overall, and Matvei Michkov, and the Flyers are able to get him at 7. Yeah, I'm happy about that. Other people didn't want his KHL deal. I love the KHL deal. I didn't think the Flyers would do it. I thought the Flyers were going to tell us all this stuff about a process, about breaking it down. And then draft somebody that was going to be, helpful a little bit sooner rather than later. And they didn't do it. Thank goodness they didn't do it. He was there for the taking. They took him. Love it. Absolutely love what the Flyers did last night. And yeah, Oliver Bonk, come on down, man. Welcome to the family. Let me tell you about Steven Singer. Speaking of family, how about Steven Singer? The other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven Singer's been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people get engaged and fall in love. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the amazing people at Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming? Join 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their skin-safe technology that helps you reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So go to Manscaped.com. That's Manscaped.com. Check them out. How about the amazing people at Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You'll love their tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in there. The chart topping 24.1%. And Super CBD, which is half Hindu. Kush. And 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So try Freestone Farm CBD at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine, fine morning. I'm going to start it over on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, see how you guys are doing today. Babs. What's up, Babs? Flyers made a good pick in the draft on ESPN coverage. They kept saying the Flyers are well-known globally. That was so nice to hear. Let's go Flyers. Oh, they're very well-known globally. The Flyers? Absolutely. Especially KHL. Yager had the year with the Flyers, was with the KHL, went back to the KHL, all that stuff. Yeah, they know the Flyers. We tell stories about the Flyers taking on the Russians in the 70s and, tell it to the Tsar, that game. The Russians probably still tell stories about that game too. The Flyers are still very known in Russia. I don't doubt that. And yes, globally, they're very well known. I've heard, I have one person that told me this, and I take it as Bible, okay? Because I just think that I want it to be true so much. I've heard, and I was in France just last year, and I should have run this by some people. I've heard that the French love the Flyers. I've heard that the French people, okay, the Parisian people, they love the Flyers because the Flyers beat up the Canadiens and French people don't like French Canadian people. I've heard it from one person that this is true, so that's good enough for me. I'm running with it, and if it's not true, then I'll wish it into existence. But there's just something about French people loving the Flyers for beating the crap out of a bunch of French Canadians that I just love. I just enjoy it. I love it. So I want it to be true. But yes, the Flyers are very, very well known globally. Nola career here in Philadelphia should come to an end after this season. We can't pay this guy. You just can't. Consistently inconsistent is the best way to look at Aaron Nola right now, and I hate to use that cliche, but it's so damn true. I'm gonna give it the rest of the year because I don't know what his big money contract looks like. Maybe he'll want to stay here in Philadelphia anyway. Maybe he'll take less money, and I know that's a very naive thing to say, but sometimes it's true. We were just talking about Cliff Lee last night, talking about Ranger Suarez and Cliff Lee. Cliff Lee took less money to be here in Philadelphia just because he liked Philadelphia. Athletes do it. It's not all the time. It's few and far between. But maybe it'll happen. Maybe he signs a 1-year deal. Maybe he signs a prove-it deal in Philadelphia. I don't know. And then he goes and has a Cy Young year and Cy Young caliber year like he's had before. And that's where he really cashes in. The crazy thing, to go back to that stat of not having consecutive 2 earned run performances, 2 earned runs or fewer. Like, I remember in Aaron Nola's really good years, he would go like a month or 2 with going 7 innings. I mean, talk about 6 innings, 7 innings, allowing 2 earned runs or fewer. And he would go on those runs where he'd just be unconscious. Phillies could really use that guy right now. Barbara, at least Harper rolled a ball that made it to the outfield grass. Eric, what's up, Eric? Let me try. Wisniewski. I'm going to say Wisniewski, right? Right? I think I got it right. Flyers first pick when asked if he's okay with rebuild, then says, I'm 3 years. In 3 years, I'll be winning team when I come with. I think what you're saying, Eric, is that when he was asked last night about a rebuild, he said, I'll be here in 3 years and playing with confidence and joining a winner. So, yeah, I agree with that. Babs, Farzy, for the most part this season, the Phillies have scored a bunch of runs when Nola starts, so even when he's god-awful, he never gets the loss. Very true. Very true. Wow. Lady Rackets. Okafor, Fultz, and Simmons. Well, Okafor wasn't a number 1, right? He was a 3rd overall, I believe. Yeah. But he also was hurt. Yeah. Harden shouldn't be under any circumstance, period. Yeah. Big T, what's up, Big T? Farzi's still all in on the Fightins, I suspect. You're damn right. They're still making the playoffs, baby. They're a playoff team. That's happening. Babs, no, the Flyers draft pick doesn't have an injury or mental problems. The 76ers whack picks. Fair enough. But my only point is he's not playing. It's sort of like, not exactly like. Let's get to the Farzy show page, see what you guys are up to over here. April. Good morning, April. Go Sixers. Morning, Farzy. Pretty soon it'll be September and Nola will completely fall apart. What if he didn't? What if September was the month in the season where Aaron Nola all of a sudden turned it on, huh? Yeah. Oh, PJ, you talking pucks? You talking pucks, bro? Oh, all right. Yeah, 8:05 start times suck. I saw the chat going on there as well. I don't like 8:05 start times. It's almost like I'd rather have a 10:05 start time than an 8:05 start time. And get a little pregame nap, put the kids to bed, pregame nap. Yeah. All I know is JT needs to start wearing a cup. Damn, that did look like it hurt. Yeah, everybody pray for Joel. Everybody pray for JT's hibbity-dibbity. Because thank you, Sean Kilrain. What's up, Sean Gillespie? Good morning. How are you? April. April, 8:05 start time seems weird. I thought I was just being old, not liking it. No, you're not. Midwest Central Time bull. Come on. By the way, speaking of Chicago, that show Bear is back on Hulu. That's a fine program. I enjoyed that program. Mullet Alvarado. What's up, Mullet? That's why the cookie crumbled. I put a lot on Elton. Oh, I know, Mullet. I know. We drafted Drago's son last night. He will break. I must break you. There you go. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Oh, my goodness gracious. Ladies and gentlemen, in-studio guest. First time in a while. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? Oh, you have your... Well, no, this is your... this is your mermaid from Aunt Margie. Right? What's your mermaid's name?
Ariel.
This is Ariel? Okay, come here, sweetheart. You want to say hi? You haven't said hi to the good people in a while. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Do you want to tell everybody what award you got in school? What award did you get? Do you remember? What award did they give you? Which is hilarious considering you're not talking right now. What award did they give you? The Chatterbox.
A chatterbox.
There was, superlatives given away, like, biggest helper, best laugh, and Lil Toots here, Emanuela got Chatterbox. So I couldn't be more proud. Couldn't be more proud. Do you want a breakfast bar and all that stuff? Okay, Daddy will get you a breakfast bar in a minute, okay? Okay, is Mom hanging out?
Yeah.
Okay, go tell Mom I said good morning.
No.
All right, you can stay right here. That's fine. The wife is out of town on a business trip. So my mom is the saint of a woman that she is, Eleanor, and she's helping me with the kids, folks. So welcome to behind the scenes at the Farzetta house. So there you go. All right, let's get to the morning rush. You guys are great. Love you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. April saying good morning. Can you say hi, April?
Hi, April.
Can you say hi, Sean?
Hi, Sean.
Can you say hi, other Sean?
Hi, Sean.
Say hi, Mullet Alvarado. Say hi, Go Sixers.
I get Sixers.
Say hi, Casey.
Hi, Casey.
Say hi, Babs.
Hi, Babs.
There you go. Can you say hi, Big T?
Hi, Big T.
Oh, we got little touch shout outs, folks. Did I get everybody? Oh, can you say hi, T bro? Say hi, T bro.
Hi, T bro.
I'm gonna have you do my voiceovers. Can you say hi, Lady Rackets?
Hi, Rackets.
Say hi, Eric Wisniewski. You're part Polish. You could say Wisniewski. No? Okay. All right. Wow. No dubs you. You know what I'm saying? No dubs you. All right. Anyway. All right, let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Phillies get the go for the sweep tonight. 8:05 start time against the Cubs. Taijuan Walker will be on the bump for the Phillies tonight against Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks is having himself a really good baseball season. I don't like that, but it's true. I got to go by the facts here, folks. Got to go by the facts. Going into tonight's game, Kyle Hendricks is 3-2 on the season with a 2.60 ERA and a WHIP below 1. Taijuan Walker gets a start tonight for the Phillies. It's an 8. He's 8-3 on the season, 4.10 ERA, and we all know over his last handful of starts, Taijuan Walker has been fantastic. Can you say Taijuan Walker?
Hello.
He's gone 6 innings, 8 innings, 5 innings, 7 innings in his last 4 starts. And in his last 4 starts, he's allowed no more than 1 earned run, and he has given up just 1 home run in that span.
Hello.
Oh, you're saying hi? All right, here. Here are the headphones. Can you hear yourself in the microphone?
Hello.
There you go. Can you say thanks, everybody? We'll catch you tomorrow. Can you say thanks, everybody? We'll catch you tomorrow. All right. Can you thank PJ? Come on, Chatterbox. Right. All right. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be back with you guys tonight on the Jacob Media YouTube channel for the Phillies postgame show. Rob Ellis will be a guest, ladies and gentlemen. Look forward to talking to Rob about the Phillies after the Phillies game, get his analysis on it. Hopefully they complete the sweep of the Cubbies in Chicago at Wrigley Field. My thanks to Jim Hyde, produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Also download the podcast. And, of course, thank you to the people on the podcast. Can you say to the people on the podcast, thank you, people on the podcast? There you go. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.